We all have that one friend that we hang out with once a month that is probably involved in some shady business, but we don't comment because we are personally not involved. You know, the one that takes out for pizza and books out the entire bar, and you know they were only able to pay for the night because they hijacked 6 cars, pissed on an old lady, and are probably aiding and abetting terrorism. But you know what? The pizza tastes nice, they're a vibe, and they have really funny if suspicious stories. That's kinda how I see the lovably roguish Fatui Harbinger Childe, and no, his crime isn't that he's a redhead. To celebrate the antics of quite possibly one of the best written characters in the entire game, I'm gonna go through 11 random reasons why you should adore Tartaglia. And yes, number 5 will shock you, or whatever I'm meant to say in these types of videos. Number 1 is easily...
Hey girlie, hold still.
You just knew I was going to include that. Don't play games with me, you knew I was going to include that moment. Reason number 2 is his gameplay style. For a game that's not really designed to be that difficult, nor is it really centered around its combat, Childe can feel like a breath of fresh air, as he is probably one of the more involved and technically playing DPS characters in the entire game, needing you to understand how his rotation works and how his party members play into him, which has the effect of making him feel like one of the more satisfying characters to play well. Don't ask me how that feels though, I play him like garbage. Now obviously I'm not saying he's brutally Dark Souls level difficult, but he does have both the highest skill floor and skill ceiling than a lot of other characters due to how his kit functions. Plus, he has water knives. Even if his rotation involved taking 5 deep breaths, pressing the W key and everything in Tavat just explodes instantly, I would still give him points because water knives. Just try not to make it so that you're waiting 27 years for his skill to come off cooldown. Reason number 3 is his dedication to his family. One of his most notable characteristics that helps push him into the grayer waters of characterization is his clear loyalty and love for his family. Hell, he literally pretends to be a toy salesman while his brother Toos is around so that the latter still looks up to him and doesn't worry for him. Which, fair play, because Toos is so annoying that I would straight up just tell him that the Fatui killed beavers so that he'd leave me alone.
Yo, why is he looking at me like that? What's up, little bud? Got a staring problem, pal?
Stop.
Yo, Zen, get your boy, dog.
Toos is alright, he's a kid, I'm just messing around. He seemingly consistently writes letters to his siblings back home, and one of the big reasons motivating him to achieve the Tsaritsa's goal is to provide a mighty and safe Shnezhnaya for his family. It's one of those admirable traits that not only adds depth to the things he may do, but makes him come across a lot more likable than the lip-biting, hair-flipping, innocent man-beheading rival he comes across as initially. Number 4 is this coat in Winter Night's Lasso. Where is this skin, Hoyo? Where is it? Why can I not have this as an alt outfit for Childe? Why? We need more 5-star skins. Where is this as a 5-star skin? To be fair, I already know how this company treats skin, so moving on. Cool coat nonetheless. Speaking of Childe having surprisingly murderous drip, number 5 is whatever the gap in this jacket is. I appreciate that he just airs out his belly button like that. He really wants his navel to be bitten by the Shnezhnayan air, and I respect it. Is this like the Hoyo male character equivalent of showing your grippers or something? Back to a more serious point for reason number 6, at least slightly serious. As serious as I can get as a human being. His sheer grit and determination as a person is something to be admired even by his opponents. And while that energy is usually used to scrap with literally any living creature within a 5-kilometer radius, at least he's got the spirit.
Let's fucking have it.
Whether it is having the absolute audacity to challenge a literal hydro dragon, the lengths he would go to protect his family as stated earlier, or even just the fact that he would probably walk across a 100-mile road of broken glass and Lego bricks if it meant he could have a mildly fun fight against someone. He literally basically does that at the beginning of the Fontaine Archon quest, by the way. I forgot that he went all the way to Fontaine just so we could fight the gun lesbian. Either way, his resolution and stubborn determination are characteristics that even if you may find his greasy hair a bit stinky and his attitude off-putting, you can find a way to respect him. He battled an entire cosmic horror alien world-swallowing whale for days while in Foul Legacy, which has been said to actively harm his body. He gets out and gives a thumbs down to Nuvilet like he's Batista. You have to respect that level of disrespect. Well, except if you're Skirk, I guess. Speaking of which, reason number 7 is Skirk. I don't know, she's just really cool. I know this isn't even a point completely related to Childe as a character. I just think she's neat, so yeah. Number 7 is Skirk. Slay Queen. I'm almost tempted to make number 8 the time when Skirk threw Childe into a portal like he was last week's dinner and fucking dusted off her hands, but I'm not that mean. Let's move on. Reason number 8 is that he's rich and has a broke bitch that is instantly a positive for me. It also means we get the running gag of Childe basically being Zhongli's sugar daddy, which is so silly, and I unashamedly love that joke.
What's up? Can a low come up in your crib?
Man, fuck you. I'll see you at work.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick.
What?
Reason 9 is Childe's relationship with the Traveler, which is probably one of the more compelling character dynamics that our protagonist has in the entire game. No, I will not be talking about shipping here, by the way. Get your AO3 tabs out of here, Stacy. Childe is probably as close to a rival style character as we're going to get in the story, and it's one of the more important recurring relationships when it comes to the main story. With Childe walking this fine line of morally grey punch clock villain, yet being affable with the Traveler and seeing them in at least a somewhat positive light, their mutual respect for each other develops in a way that's actually pretty interesting to watch. Given that Childe is a Fatui Harbinger, i.e. a general in the organization that the Traveler is doing their best to foil the plans on, it creates an interesting game of tit for tat, or cat and mouse, or whatever metaphor someone will come up with in order to turn this into a sexual innuendo.
In that position, I just have to smash it because...
With Childe going from the major antagonist of the Liyue arc to gaining a wary but mutual respect and something approaching fondness during his story quest, to the more friendly and personable but inherently complicated relationship that's shown in Fontaine, the state of their bond means that whenever they eventually kill off Childe, I may just projectile vomit. Because you know for a fact they're going to kill Childe one day. I can sniff it with my one nostril because the other is kind of blocked. I know exactly what Hoyo is gonna do. Don't piss me. To harp on something I mentioned in the previous point, number 10 is the fact that his story quest is still straight up one of the best the game has. Taking a character that at the time of the Archon quest seemed to be a more cavalier blood knight, fleshing them out into a multifaceted rival-ish character for our protagonist, with enough traits to make him feel understandable and endearing, I still consider Childe's story quest to be the standard when it comes to the quality of character work I would want from these quests. It's also just very funny and shows that underneath it all, he is just a silly little guy. Childe's cover as a toy salesman is both sweet for his reasoning behind it, while also being absolutely ridiculous, as it should be. You go king, sell that amiibo like your life depends on it, because in a way it probably does. The speech he gives to the Fatui agents when he realizes Tusa is there and can hear him is still probably one of the funniest scenes in the game. And the hide and seek scene with Childe once again Power Rangering up, even though he's still recovering from his fight with the Traveler, is still one of the more memorable cutscenes in the game. Even after so many quests and hearing enough exposition that the history of Enkanomiya is seeping out of my ears like a paste, Childe's story quest still stands as one of the most entertaining and well-written 2 hours that the game has to offer. And finally, reason number 11 is, yeah, okay, maybe I am that mean. I take back what I said earlier. Number 11 is the scene where Skirk throws him into the portal like he's a tennis ball. Look at how stiff bro is. She's like 5'4" and he flew like a paper plane. There's no fucking way. Surprise quick rattling off of a few more. You thought this was over. How silly of you. These voice lines during his boss fight.
This opportunity is quite hard to come by. Well then, amuse me. Surrender is a valid option. I promise I'll be gentle.
Speaking of voice lines, this one too.
This place is pretty dead. By which I mean, there's nothing to kill.
Okay.
The fact that he literally cannot contain himself when he hears about coconut milk.
Cocoa goat. Cocoa goat.
Grown-ass man laughing at coconut milk, by the
goodness.
way. He has 3 names, and only the coolest people have the audacity to have 3 different names they can be addressed as. Honestly, there were about 30 different reasons that I could have mentioned for this character, and even though I ended up picking objectively the most ridiculous ones, I'm sure those reasons were enough to convince you to absolutely adore the 11th Fatui Harbinger. And if not, Albozo, no takebacks. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like and that strange button that says subscribe. But for now, stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.